So yeah, I've said this before, but yeah, this is a very masterful, a very impacting film in so many ways.
I know, and
it gets better and better every time I view it. Or especially when you kind of look at it from a modern lens. My last rewatch of. Okay, maybe not my last rewatch, but I mean, when I decided to rewatch it again, last month, maybe it might have been 2 months ago. I don't know. My days are starting to blur together. When the kids are playing that prank, when they play the prank.
Oh, jeez.
I'm old enough to now think that, oh my god, this would not be there would be a very harsh punishments for those kids if this was done nowadays, because they could probably go to, since they're under 13, they would probably be tried as juveniles for disrupting the peace, causing physical assault, I guess, or something. I don't know what. Involuntary manslaughter. It's something. They caused people to be trampled.
Oh yeah, so yeah, that would get shut down real quick nowadays.
Oh, and even if the sentence was pretty lightened, when they breach the surface and they're looking at the cops, they have guns pointed at them.
Oh my gosh.
They are so lucky that they were not shot. They could have gotten shot because the Coast Guards thought that it was a real shark.
And to say nothing of the punishment they would get when they would get home.
I know.
Mom and Dad? Oh,
and so yeah, there's so many there. This is why this movie gets better and better every time you see it, because you tend to catch things that you didn't at first. And so when I see the cut of the camera pretty much staring down the barrel of that gun, I'm shocked. I'm going like, oh my god, those kids could have been shot. And
dumb and stupid.
Those kids could have been shot. And I was like, oh my god, was it worth it? Was the joke actually worth it? The people that you hurt?
I'm pretty sure in about 10, 20 years it probably would be great.
Yeah.
And speaking of other things that wouldn't fly today, smoking in hospitals.
Oh, yeah, there wasn't... Oh yeah, there was smoking in hospitals. In that hospital, yeah.
That wouldn't fly. No, that wouldn't fly.
And because of the oxygen tanks, the oxygen atmosphere.
Oxygen tanks and just secondhand smoke.
Okay.
But I mean, it's just. Let's see, what other things wouldn't fly today that are in this movie? Oh, I know, throwing dynamite in the water.
Oh.
At least I think it was dynamite.
It definitely was dynamite. So why would that not fly today? I'm curious.
That's just environmental. You'd get charged with something, harming the environment in a destructive way. I mean, you would kill a lot of things because the shockwave from the dynamite blowing up would travel a lot farther underwater, killing, just about everything in the area.
Wow.
So yeah, that wouldn't fly. Not to mention, dynamite around other boats.
Yeah.
And it's just, I like Matt Hooper's response to all those, for lack of a better term, rednecks, going out in their boats to try to catch this shark. And I'm just like, there I am again.
I know, that's one of my favorite lines too, especially the setup. So can you find me a decent restaurant or hotel on the island? You walk straight ahead. They're all gonna die. That was my response to the whole reopening the states before the virus is contained. I was you're all gonna die.
I mean, it's just, there's something okay.
My cat's having fun.
Oh, it's crackhead hour.
Interesting way to put it.
We have it at my house. My butthead. But I love that entire sequence of when we meet Matt Hooper for the first time, and he's just like, what am I doing here? That entire sequence is just so amusing, and it's just like, well, this is what I walked into. Do I really want to save all these people?
Yeah, that's definitely the mood that I get when he goes, those guys in the boat. Yeah, well, none of them are making out of the harbor alive.
That reminds me of those two guys that took a chain of giant hook and their his wife, holiday ham,
roast.
Holiday roast, and they chucked that in the water with the inner tube from a tire. And that entire sequence was just, I don't know, it played up to be kind of scary, but it's also hilarious at the same time.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's hilarious. But at the same time, but it's scary when it's hilarious when it turns out that the shark pretty much broke the pier, or the dock, or whatever it's called, and causing the guy to fall in. You stupid. And it's also kind of scary when you see the broken piece of the dock turn around and come towards the guy that fell in the water.
Yeah, I have an issue with that scene. This is like the one mistake I've found in Jaws, aside from the behavior of the actual shark. That shark pulled out a good length of chain.
Yes.
Why were they so afraid of the pier? The shark would be a good distance in front of it. So instead of being afraid of the pier, you should at least be afraid of the inner tube, because that's where the shark's head is. That's like the one gripe I have.
You can see the pier because it's larger than the inner tube, which is smaller and kind of blends in well with the night sky.
Yes, but instead of being afraid of the pier, you should be afraid of something at least a couple dozen yards in front of the pier.
He probably knew. He probably knew that the shark was at least several feet in front of the pier.
Perhaps. I'm overanalyzing a small portion of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that entire sequence was, like I said, scary and hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Especially with the punchline at the end of that sequence. Can we go home now?
We better catch something. This is my wife's holiday roast, Chuck.
Yeah, it's with $3,000. You could buy a whole lot of holiday roasts.
I mean,
all right, now.
Go ahead.
Now the writing. The writing is also something that I praise about because I don't watch too many modern movies, but I kind of think they've forgotten what foreshadow is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be in your face, and it's not supposed to be, directly talked about. But so in Jaws, it's not said, but it is shown. Several events that will happen in the movie in the later half of the movie, and it's done like a good 45 minutes before those events happen, and it all happens when Brody is looking through his books. The two things that you see a shark putting a hole in the hull of a boat. Not only does that kind of foreshadow how they find out what shark is terrorizing these waters, but it also foreshadows what happens to the orca.
Yes.
And of course it also foreshadows how they kill the shark. Blink and you'll miss it. It shows a photo of a shark with a compressed air tank in its mouth.
I think I actually missed that.
I see. And so yeah, good foreshadow is something that doesn't take place directly in front of the event you're foreshadowing, and at least from my observation, in my opinion. Okay, if any of you are still around, if you have an opinion of what also makes good foreshadow, let me know. All right, but for me, good foreshadow is something that happens like either in the first act or the second act, doesn't directly follow the event you're foreshadowing, and is subtle. It's not spoken directly. It's not in a piece of dialogue that a character says. There was one other piece of foreshadow that I didn't find out until I rewatched it, my first rewatching last month, and that is when our team of 3 sail off out of the harbor. Can you? Do you know what the boat sails through when it goes out the harbor? The jaws of a shark. You know what that says to me? That bone ain't making it back.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yes. Now that's just how I interpret that. That's how I interpret that shot. And again, that's great cinematography, and it's not really one thing. It's just if you, like they said, a picture is worth a thousand words. The words that scream to me with that shot are just is fate, obsession, and devastation.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I can't add anything on. That's a good wrap up for that section of thought. I don't have anything to add to that point.
Okay.
And on,
yes, okay.
I was watching a video earlier today going over how to make a good horror scene. And
Okay.
honestly, they used some shots from the film Lights Out.
Oh, I didn't see that movie.
I haven't seen it either. I've seen the trailers, but they showed it was based on a short film of the same name, and and something that we talked about, I think briefly, with the POV shots from this film, from The Shark, as well as from Predator, is the use of POV from a character or the antagonist that makes the protagonist seem helpless and small, like you know they're being watched. And you see that a lot in this film because a lot of underwater shots in the shark POV.
Oh yeah.
And going over that film, this is basically textbook horror. How to make a good horror shot. To show a character or group of characters being watched, and they either are unsure of something or don't know it at all.
And yeah, I think that just what you said, that kind of reminded me of some of the other horror movies that I've seen where there are POV shots, and I think it could. And well, I don't know if Jaws was actually the first to use it.
Probably not. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not. But
it did use it effectively. There's the slasher films such as Friday the 13th and Halloween makes good use of POV shots, and Halloween especially adds the tension by having the sounds of the killer breathing heavily.
Michael Myers.
Yeah, Michael Myers. Yeah. Friday the 13th. Some POV shots actually have the characters actually facing the camera just before they're killed. You know, like they're actually talking to the camera.
I haven't seen either of those films. I probably should.
The original John Carpenter Halloween, kind of what is said to be the template for the classic slasher genre. And Friday the 13th just kind of is like Halloween, but for the 80s. But actually has a good twist, which I won't spoil. All right, let's see. We are now coming up on about an hour and a half for this review now.
Oh, geez. What else could we talk about?
There's the acting, of course.
Well, let's go there then.
Okay.
Make this go as long as we can. At least till we run out of steam. It's Jaws. We have to.
Yeah. Okay. The acting is very well done from From all the even the child actors, they do act like kids. Crack hour.
Told you.
Oh, where was I? Yeah, the acting is very well done. I mean, there's no character neither of the characters actually feel like two-dimensional or like over the top. I mean, it's like the mother of the boy that got eaten. I mean, was very well done. Apparently, from what I've seen on the documentary, the shark is still working. Fans when fans that met her would always ask for her to slap them.
Oh, her.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, and apparently she slapped Chief Brody so many times. He said he kept trying to act like it was a surprise, and he just knew it was coming. And they did so many takes because he knew it was coming, and she slapped him so many times.
Yes, boy. Oh, jeez. Let's see. I don't know how many times it was stated.
I don't remember either.
Yeah. Let's see. Roy Scheider. Obviously, he's pretty much cemented himself as being Chief Brody. I can't see anyone else who would play him. And apparently, there were talks of Charlton Heston actually being cast as Chief Brody, and but in the previous year, but Spielberg kind of decided against that because the previous two movies that he was in, which came out in '74, were about him saving a town or something, and he thought that casting Heston as the chief means that the shark would have no chance of survival. So it's pretty much saying that if we get Heston, everyone's gonna know that the shark is gonna lose. Let's see, Ian, I'll leave Hooper for you.
Well, he's an oceanographer, and he takes his job seriously. He's apparently stinking rich, both him and the whole family.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure what an oceanographer gets paid.
I don't know. How did Richard Dreyfuss do in portraying a scientist?
He did decently well.
I think my favorite little bit of arguing between him and Brody is when they finally first meet the shark, and Dreyfuss he's all in science mode, and he's like taking pictures of it, and he says,
out.
Brody, nuts. Why?
I need something in the shot for scale.
In the foreground for scale. Foreground my ass. I love that. And apparently, he and Robert Shaw, who plays Quint, they actually did not get along on set.
I remember hearing about that. They hated each other.
They hated each other. I think Dreyfuss had a problem with Shaw's drinking because he always seemed to be on set drunk. Or something like that. So the animosity that you get from Hooper and Quint is actually very real, and it just makes it all more believable.
Oh yeah.
I think.
And honestly, I do like Matt Hooper's cynicism, because that's something I hear from a lot of scientists that I talk to. They are extremely cynical about people like the laity, who think they know what they're doing, but are absolutely clueless, especially when it comes to the scientist's field of expertise.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, you're all gonna die. And honestly, Matt Hooper gives one of the best freaking lines.
Which ones?
And I can see that you are going to ignore this particular problem until it swims up and bites you in the ass.
Oh yes, he does get a lot of good lines. The one I like is, "That's it. I'm not waiting around for someone who's lining up to be a hot lunch."
In one of my books I'm working on, I'm writing another scientist character. I will make several references to Jaws. Simply after watching it this time, I will make several references.
Oh yeah, no harm in that.
Everyone does it. Why not?
Yeah, and of course, and there's also Lorraine Gary who's the chief's wife. And honestly, and she's another one of those female characters that's not like doesn't feel like it's a second class citizen, or that she is pretty important, and I think, and she knows that her husband is afraid of the water, but he's trying to, his sense of duty to the town of Amity and to his family is kind of more important than his fear right now. And so I can kind of get a little sense of pride that she's proud of him in a way.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, one of my favorite parts from her, when Brody yells at his son to get out of the boat, and she glances down at the book and at the page where the shark is chunking through the boat, and she just slams it shut and says, "Didn't you hear your father? Get out of the boat now! Now!"
And yeah,
after she defended her son for being in the boat, he's not in the water. He is in a boat.
I know, and I love that because she is being a mother. She's not automatically agreeing with the husband just because he's the man and what he says goes. She's just working with information she has right now. And so when she sees the picture of the shark putting a hole through the boat, she now understands where her husband's concern.
Yeah, shark and boat.
Yeah, shark and boat. I mean, it's the same. It's the same thing as like a car and another car. It's not an impenetrable armor.
Yeah, or if you live up in Alaska, you know what I'm talking about. Tent and grizzly bear.
Yeah.
They call those burritos.
I didn't know you speak bear.
No, the people up in Alaska call tent burritos.
Oh, okay, because the food's wrapped.
Yeah.
And then there's Mayor Vaughn, who I'm kind of really glad for at how he's portrayed in this movie, because the last that we see him is that he agrees to pay the $10,000 for Quint to kill the shark. And his reasoning is because my kids were on that beach too.
Yeah, it's about freaking time he got some sense.
I know, and it kind of shows that he's not a monster.
No, he was looking out for the town, and he wants the town to prosper. He wants people to, be able to afford things that they want/need.
Mm-hmm.
And when his kids were on the beach, reality slapped them up in the face and bit him in the ass for a bit.
Mm-hmm. And so that's that's what I like. He's not a sleaze. And keep in mind, this was in the 70s. If this was made in the 80s or the 90s, he would have been a sleazy businessman or a crooked politician, all that kind of things, because that we like that.
Yeah, we like seeing people get their just desserts, and I like this because he's portrayed as a real person. Now, there are sleazy politicians and sleazy businessmen, and of course there is, but in this, he's the mayor of a small town.
Yes.
He's looking out for the people. And when something slims up and bites him with some cold, hard reality, that snaps him out of his delusion, thinking that, everything will be fine. No, everything will be not fine. This thing has teeth.
This thing has teeth, and it really doesn't care about who it chomps down on.
No, if you're in the water, you're fair game.
Mm-hmm.
It went after a dog.
Like I said, just ask Pippin.
Yeah. So, I mean... But yeah, the writing and the acting of every character, except for that one lady extra that was cradling her child in the water during the prank.
Oh.
I crack up at that because it's so overreacting, and it's just like,
yeah, okay. I'll agree.
But I mean, it's an extra.
I'll agree with you on that. Mm-hmm.
Although, just seeing everybody panic when they're running out of the water in that entire sequence, seeing that guy flip a couple kids off that blow-up raft and get on the raft and start battling, I'm just like, you idiot, you deserve to get chomped.
Yeah. Alright, I feel like I'm running out of steam, so how about we talk about our favorite scene and then we give our rating?
Sounds good, yeah. This review is going on a bit long now.
Yeah.
Okay, so a favorite scene. For me, I have a couple. One, when we first meet Hooper. I love that. The cynicism is top-notch. I also love any shot where we get real footage of sharks.
Okay.
I love that.
My favorite scene is in the cabin of the boat at night after the first day, where the three guys are now comparing like scars or wounds that they sustained, and they're all just having a good time, and then the mood just suddenly shifts to Quint's story, and because that feels actually very realistic, because there are times when you're with friends and you're having a great old time, and then something comes up and that just really kills the mood, and you're just all wondering, can we get back to the good time that we were having?
Nope.
It just feels very weird. But
Hooper,
again,
that's from the USS Indianapolis.
Yeah. And to be fair, I mean, they were able to get back to that good mood. You know, they sang a song briefly. We all know the song. Show me the way to go home. I'm tired and I wanna go to... Okay, you know the song.
Yeah, that song.
Okay. So yeah, they were having a good time, and then Mother Nature decides to be a bitch and sends the shark to ruin everything. Mm-hmm.
Start the engine, Hooper.
So yeah, that's my favorite scene out of... For the record, I mean, there's a lot of great scenes in Jaws.
Just about every scene is pretty good. It's at least pretty good in every scene.
Yeah, but that one's my favorite because it just feels the most real.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in terms of how people interact with each other.
Yeah.
And a firework just went off in the distance, which means now it's time for our rating. No, it's yeah. You gotta roll with the punches on that thing. Ian, what do you rate this movie?
Honestly, 10 out of 10. For the first time ever on this show, I give a movie a 10 out of 10.
And
keep in mind, even How to Train Your Dragon didn't get a 10 out of 10 for me.
Oh, yeah.
It got a 9.9999998.
Oh, geez, I need to look back on that video. What did I give it? Did I give it a 10?
I think you might have.
Okay.
But I mean, Jaws gets a 10 out of 10 for me.
And I'm pretty much the same. It's a 10 out of 10. It is a masterpiece, and yeah, okay, yes, the shark's behavior is not very realistic, but this was 1970s. Everyone had limited information on sharks, but this one makes a great villain. The humans are very well written. The score that we didn't touch up on. Do we really need to? 2 notes and you got a villain. There you go.
John Williams, 75, shark. That's all I need to say.
Okay. I mean, for a movie whose production was an absolute hell for everyone, it pretty much resulted in a timeless classic that is still going strong.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly believe this is one of the movies that are just untouchable. It's impossible to remake. So what? And furthermore, and pretty much begs the question, why remake it at all?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great film. We still have it. Mm-hmm. So, honestly, yeah, it's, again, one of those films that you need to watch before you die. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. And I agree.
It's become such a cultural phenomenon that even if you've never seen Jaws, you at least know what it's about.
You know what it's about. You know the poster. You know the theme. It's like what you said it yourself, Ian. It is ingrained. It's ingrained in our pulp culture that you just can't. That it's impossible to not know it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and with that, we end this special 2-part review series.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely make an attempt to come back next month. We will not have too long of a break in our show.
Well, you guys didn't have to wait too long for this one. As of recording, our Predator review just went up today, as of recording, so
Yeah.
You won't have too long. You won't wait too long for this one.
Yeah, I'm talking like for the next one.
Yeah.
Which
August,
which we don't really know what we're gonna be talking about yet. So, hey, if you're surprised by what we talk about, we'll be too.
Yeah, I mean, I'll reach out to some friends. You can do the same. We'll find a good movie. Or a bad one. We've done a lot of good movies. Maybe we should torture ourselves for a bit.
I think you wanted to torture me with the '98 Godzilla movie.
I did?
Yeah.
That's one of my dirty pleasures. It's one of it's like
your guilty pleasure.
Yeah, my my guilty pleasure. I love that movie for some reason. I know it's not great, but I love it.
I like that movie too. I was 8 when I saw that movie.
Yeah, that was my first Godzilla movie ever.
And it technically isn't Godzilla, at least by Japanese standards.
Well, regardless.
Yeah. So yeah,
we'll pick something for August, and
yeah, and
maybe Tyler will be back. He says he wants to take a break from this for a bit. It's fine.
Yeah.
But John and I will always be here. We might bring on other people if they want to join in. It depends. Oh
yeah. Yeah, I mean, hey, if you want to join in, leave a comment or
go to John's,
direct message.
America Pictures Facebook page. Message him there. We'll set something up.
All right. So until next time, this is John Murphy.
And this is Ian Benoit.
Signing off.
See you around, guys.